The crystal wine glass shattered against the wall behind my head, red wine dripping down the expensive wallpaper like blood. "You're worthless." My father's voice boomed across the dining room. A complete disappointment. My mother dabbed her napkin nervously at her lips, while my brother Marcus smirked from his seat beside her. Just another lovely family dinner at the Wilson household. I remained seated, calmly cutting into my steak. "Is that really what you think, Dad?" "Think? I know." He was still standing, his face red with rage. "Your brother is making millions in real estate, and what are you doing? Playing with your little investment schemes. If he only knew. I'm Alexandra Wilson, though everyone calls me Alex. At 35, I own one of the largest commercial real estate investment firms on the East Coast. Not that my family knows this. To them, I'm just the daughter who never lived up to her potential." "Someone has to be the family failure," Marcus chimed in, swirling his wine. "Not everyone can be as successful as me." I studied my brother's smug face, thinking about the documents sitting on my desk at work. Documents that would wipe that smirk right off his face, and my father's too. "Tell me, Marcus," I said quietly, "how's the Riverside Tower lease going?" His hand froze halfway to his mouth. "How do you know about that?" "Oh, I hear things." I smiled, thinking about the meeting I'd had that morning with the building's true owner, me. "Isn't the rent due for renewal soon?" My father slammed his hand on the table. "This isn't about your brother's business. This is about you wasting your life with whatever it is you do." I thought about Wilson Properties, the company my father had built from nothing. The same company that now rented office space in 3 buildings I secretly owned, including their headquarters. "Dad," I said carefully, "maybe we should talk about something else. Like the Preston Building renovation." His face darkened. The Preston Building was where Wilson Properties had their main office, the crown jewel of my father's empire. What he didn't know was that the mysterious company that had bought it 6 months ago was one of my subsidiaries. "That's none of your concern," he snapped. "You can barely manage your own apartment, let alone understand commercial real estate." My small apartment was actually the penthouse of a building I owned, but I let him believe I rented a modest space. Just like I let them all believe I worked at a small investment firm instead of running Mitchell Global Investments, one of the largest property investment companies in the country. "I understand more than you think," I replied, but he was already launching into his familiar rant. "When I was your age, I was building an empire. Your brother's already surpassed my early success. But you..." He gestured dismissively. "You're 35, and what do you have to show for it? Only a real estate portfolio worth billions, multiple international investments, and ownership of half the commercial properties in downtown, including his beloved office building. But tonight wasn't the time to reveal that. Not yet." "I do all right," I said mildly, taking another bite of my steak. Marcus laughed. "All right? Is that why you're still driving that old Toyota? Come on, Alex. Even your clothes scream middle management." My old Toyota was actually this year's model. I just chose it for its subtlety. And my middle management outfit was a hand-tailored Armani suit that cost more than his flashy Rolex. I just preferred understated elegance to obvious displays of wealth. "At least I've stopped asking Dad for loans," I pointed out. The room went silent. Everyone knew Marcus had needed a substantial investment from our father last year when one of his deals went south. Money that had actually come from one of my shell companies, though they didn't know that either. "That was a business decision," my father defended quickly. "Your brother knows how to use money to make money. You just coast." I thought about the meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. The one where Wilson Properties would learn that their rent was doubling unless they agreed to certain terms. Terms that would give me controlling interest in my father's company. "Maybe you're right," I said, standing up. "Maybe I am worthless. Guess we'll find out soon enough." "What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus demanded. I smiled, picking up my purse, an understated Hermes that cost more than his monthly mortgage. "Just that tomorrow might be interesting." "Are you threatening us?" My father's voice rose again. "Not at all. Just making an observation." I headed for the door, then paused. "Oh, and Dad, you might want to read the Preston Building's new ownership documents carefully. I hear there are some interesting details in the fine print." "What do you know about the Preston Building?" He followed me to the door, his face flushed. "Have you heard something?" "Good night, Dad." Thanks for dinner. I walked out, leaving him sputtering behind me. In my car, the deliberately modest Toyota my brother had mocked, I pulled out my phone and dialed my assistant. Everything ready for tomorrow, Lisa? Yes, Ms. Wilson. The new signage will be installed overnight. Security has been briefed, and the receptionist knows exactly what to say when your father arrives. Perfect. I smiled, thinking about the morning to come. And the documents? All prepared. Would you like me to review the plan? Please. Lisa's efficient voice listed off the schedule. 7 a.m. New building signage unveiled showing Mitchell Global Investments as owner. 8 a.m. New security team in place. 9 a.m. Your father typically arrives, he'll need to check in with reception as per the new building policy. 9:30 a.m. Board meeting where they'll learn about the rent increase and ownership transfer terms. And my brother's lease? The notice of non-renewal for Riverside Tower has been prepared. Would you like us to deliver it tomorrow as well? I thought about Marcus's smug face, his constant belittling, his endless boasts about his success that had partially been built on my silent help. Yes, I decided. It's time for everyone to learn exactly who they've been calling worthless. After hanging up, I sat in my car for a moment thinking about the path that had led here. While my father had pushed Marcus into flashy real estate deals and my mother had fretted about my wasted potential, I had quietly built something far bigger than they could imagine. Tomorrow they would finally understand. Tomorrow they would learn that the daughter they'd dismissed had become more powerful than they ever dreamed. Tomorrow they would discover exactly what worthless looked like. My phone buzzed, an email from the building manager confirming the overnight changes. I replied quickly, authorizing everything. Then I drove home to my modest apartment, actually the entire top floor of downtown's most exclusive building. Standing at my floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city skyline, I could see the Preston building where tomorrow's drama would unfold. The lights were still on in my father's corner office. He was probably there now, never suspecting that his lease, his building, and soon his entire company would belong to his worthless daughter. I poured myself a glass of scotch, the same rare vintage I'd seen my father try to impress clients with, though his was a cheaper imitation, and smiled. Sometimes success doesn't need to be flashy. Sometimes it's better to work in the shadows, building something extraordinary while others underestimate you. Tomorrow, those shadows would finally recede, and my family would learn exactly who I'd become while they were busy calling me worthless. I arrived at the Preston building at 7:30 a.m., just as the morning sun caught the new silver lettering being unveiled on the facade, Mitchell Global Investments. My private elevator, the one my father didn't know existed, took me to the hidden executive floor above his office. Through the one-way glass I could see workers below preparing for the day that would change everything. Ms. Wilson. Lisa appeared with my morning coffee. Your father's car just pulled into his parking spot. I checked my watch, 8:47 a.m. Early for him. The security cameras showed him strutting across the lobby like he owned the place. He didn't even notice the new signage outside. Good morning, Mr. Wilson. The new receptionist's voice came clearly through the intercom. I'll need to see your ID, please. My father stopped short. Excuse me? I own Wilson Properties. I've been coming here for 20 years. I understand, sir, but under new management, all tenants must check in. Welcome to Mitchell Global Investments. I'll just need to verify your identity and print you a visitor's badge. New management? What are you talking about? I have a meeting with my board in 30 minutes. Sir. The board meeting has been moved to conference room A on the 40th floor. Your daughter's floor. My what? I smiled, watching his face turn from red to white as understanding slowly dawned. That's impossible, he stammered. My daughter works at some small investment firm. She couldn't. Ms. Wilson is the founder and CEO of Mitchell Global Investments, the receptionist stated calmly. Now about that ID. My father fumbled for his wallet, still shaking his head in disbelief. Just then Marcus burst through the front doors. Dad, you won't believe what just happened. My lease at Riverside Tower, they're not renewing it. Some company called Mitchell Global just bought the building and dash. He stopped, finally noticing the new lobby signage. I watched as the blood drained from his face. No, he whispered. It can't be. My phone buzzed my mother. I picked up on the first ring. Alexandra. Her voice was trembling. Please tell me this is a mistake. Your father just called me. He says you own the Preston building. Not just the Preston building, Mom. Riverside Tower too. And about a dozen other properties downtown. But how? You never said anything. Would anyone have listened if I had? Silence. Then, the board meeting this morning. Yes. I own controlling interest in Dad's company now. Well, my company. The papers were signed last week. I heard her sink into a chair. All those years, we thought. You thought I was worthless, I finished for her. Dad made that very clear last night. The elevator dinged. My father and Marcus stepped out onto my floor looking completely lost. Through my office window, I could see them taking in the spectacular view, the elegant furnishings, the clear signs of power and wealth they'd never noticed before. Send them in, I told Lisa through the intercom. They entered my office like men walking to their execution. Gone was my father's usual swagger, Marcus's smug confidence. Hello, Dad, I said calmly. Sleep well. Alex. He started, then stopped, looking around my office, larger and more impressive than his ever was. How long? How long have I owned this building? 6 months. How long have I been more successful than you ever were? About 5 years. How long have I been letting you think I was a failure? Pretty much my whole career. Marcus sank into one of my visitor chairs without being invited. The Riverside Tower lease is being terminated, yes. I'm thinking of turning it into luxury condos. Or maybe just demolishing it. It's not really up to Mitchell Global's standards. You can't do this, my father finally managed. We're family. I stood up slowly, placing both hands on my desk. Family? Last night you called me worthless. Threw a wine glass at my head. Spent an hour listing all my failures. Does that sound like family to you? I was angry. I didn't mean dash. Yes, you did. I cut him off. You've meant it every time you dismissed me, every time you praised Marcus while ignoring my achievements, every time you made me feel small to make yourself feel big. Please, Marcus jumped in. You can't destroy everything we've built. Everything you've built? I laughed. Marcus, who do you think bailed you out last year when your deals went bad? That loan from Dad? Came from one of my shell companies. I own half your properties through various subsidiaries. You haven't built anything, you've been playing with my money all along. The color drained from his face. That's not possible. I pressed a button on my desk and the wall screens lit up with financial records, property deeds, corporate documents. Oh, but it is. Mitchell Global Investments owns controlling interest in most of downtown, including everything Wilson Properties thought they controlled. My father had to grab the back of a chair to steady himself. Why, he whispered. Why hide all this? Because you never would have let me succeed on my own terms. You would have tried to control it, claim credit, make it about you just like you did with Marcus. So I built this my way, quietly, efficiently, while you were busy calling me worthless. We can work something out, he pleaded. We're still family. Are we? Last night you were pretty clear about disowning me. No daughter of mine, I believe you said. A knock at the door. Lisa entered with a stack of documents. The board is ready for you, Ms. Wilson. I stood up, smoothing my designer suit. No more pretending to be middle management. Well, gentlemen, shall we? The board is waiting to meet their new owner. Alexandra, please. My father tried one last time. Everything I built is now mine, I finished for him. And unlike you, I actually earned it. Now you have 2 choices. You can clear out your office by the end of the day, or you can stay on as a junior associate. Starting at the bottom just like you always told me I should. Junior associate? Marcus sputtered. In our own company? Pie company, I corrected him. The choice is yours. Though given your track record, Marcus, I'm not sure you're qualified even for that. I walked to the boardroom, leaving them stunned in my office. Through the glass walls, I could see the board members waiting. Most of them already knew who I was, had been working with me for years while my father thought he was in charge. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from my mother. I'm so sorry, Alexandra. We should have seen. I left it unread. This wasn't about apologies anymore. This was about power, about respect, about showing them exactly who they'd been calling worthless all these years. The board meeting was brief and decisive. By noon, Mitchell Global Investments had officially absorbed Wilson Properties. My father and brother sat silently in the back as I outlined my vision for the company's future. As security escorted them out, they'd chosen not to accept my job offer. I heard Marcus ask, "Where will we go? What will we do?" I couldn't resist one final twist of the knife. "There's a small investment firm downtown always looking for new talent. Entry level, of course. That's where worthless people start, isn't it, Dad?" The look on his face was worth every second of the past 15 years. That evening I stood in my office, my real office, no more hiding, looking out over the city I now largely owned. My phone had been buzzing all day with messages from family members, all suddenly discovering their successful relative. I poured myself a glass of scotch, the real version, not my father's cheap imitation, and smiled. The worthless daughter had built an empire right under their noses, and now they would never forget it. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. Sometimes it's about proving yourself right. And sometimes, just sometimes, it's about watching those who doubted you realize exactly how wrong they were. I raised my glass to my reflection in the window. "Here's to being worthless," I whispered, and drank to my victory.